into it, 10 sessions already, 9 sessions already, and super stories, impactful ones, and I'm sure you're inspired as we've come along and we're moving forward. Again, let me remind you that on the 21st, 22nd, and on the 23rd of November, we are at the National Theatre for the SciTech Fair and the Innovation Challenge. Please join us. There'll be experiments, various exhibitions that you can touch, feel, and continue to be inspired on this wonderful journey that you have selected, of course, in science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. Let's hear quickly from our sponsors. As you know, we're proudly brought to you by Primetime Limited with support from Pepsodent, DuPay Money Transfer, Bell Beverages, YFM, and GTP. We'll be right back.
Ow.
Let me see.
She's never had a toothache before.
There might be a cavity. Don't you use Pepsodent?
We used to, but I'll try the new one.
Ah, that's why.
But doesn't every toothpaste give cavity protection?
Not really. Pepsodent's Cavity Fighter repairs tiny invisible holes to give 10 times stronger teeth. Will you trust Pepsodent?
Definitely. Pepsodent. 10 times stronger teeth.
Use Pepsodent's Cavity Fighter.
I know you are there. Come on, Akoto.
Hello, Alpha. Yeah, the landlady is here today too. She's harassing me this morning. Yes, come and see how I'm sweating.
Well, if I catch you,
Yes, the number I sent you the last time. Yes, use the DuPay app. It will come right now.
Hey, bra. Ah, so I'm sick of mommy. Give me my money. Me, Jim Sika.
We didn't know. What your DuPay is here? Yes, Karanabe. Your DuPay. DuPay is the best money transfer app that is used to send money directly from the US to Ghana free of charge. They have the best rates in the market and they are very competitive. And no thing is Kano Kana Abrosono.
Jim Sika.
Thank you so much for staying on. And we continue our wonderful conversations. Today, we have a pioneer. Let me put it that way. Or, Mr. Dogley, what do you say? Please, fun fact, Mr. Dogley is my friend, so it's going to be a very friendly conversation, but with so much information that, especially for those of you who are looking into going into the maritime space, he's a pioneer in his own right. And that's why, if I say so, he's going to share with us, information that we really didn't know about the maritime space, especially with what education, what we should do, how to study, and a bit about student politics as well, and leadership. Some of us are eyeing some SRC seats and all that. He's coming with such a strong background and experience. So, Mr. Dogley, thank you so much for honoring our invitation and speaking with us. New career, not really new, because I know this career of yours is already in the system, people know about it, but there isn't much noise and publicity about it, and so hence you're coming onto the show to share with us about it. So let me let you share with us what the background is, growing up, the schools you've gone to, the courses, and then of course the high points and low points of what your journey has been so far.
All right, thank you, Lucy, and let me first say it's a pleasure to be here. This is my first time, and so it's really a pleasure. My name is Lawrence Dogley, and as you've rightly said, the maritime industry is quite a very diverse one. But of course, at the same time, we have quite a number of people that don't know so much about the industry, and this is from personal interactions with people. But the maritime industry is the backbone of several economies in the world, right? I mean, when it comes to the trade of goods and services, among countries, the maritime industry is a heavy backbone, and a lot of economies rely on this industry to be able to move their economies forward, right? And coming from my background, I come from very humble beginnings. My dad is a seafarer himself. He has a background in marine engineering, but that is not the reason why I got into maritime in the first place. I always want to make that disclaimer.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And my mom is a teacher. She teaches in a basic school.
Okay.
And then I have 2 siblings, so we are just 3. I'm the first of the 3. So yeah, I went to primary basic school in Ashaiman, Life Preparatory, and junior high school. And then I went to Bishop Eman College for my high school. Then I went to the Regional Maritime University for my tertiary education. At Bishop Eman, I did arts.
Okay.
Not so much that I remember with my high school, because originally I wanted to go to Infantipim. But my aunt came in and said, oh, I need to do accounting and I need to be very close to her. She was living in the Volta region.
Okay.
And so that's how I got into Bishop Herman College.
Right.
So I actually had to go to Bishop Herman the second term, not the first term. So I stayed at home for 1 full term because I really wanted to go to Infantipim, but that didn't materialize. So I ended up in Bishop Herman. And I think Bishop Herman is where this whole maritime thing started for me. Because then I had a friend who was my senior, a year ahead of me. His name was Sylvester Nureme. He was doing science and I was in arts. But we were friends through spiritual issues. I mean, going to church, being religious and all that in high school.
Right.
Then he graduated and went to Regional Maritime University. Then he went to do nautical science. So there was a time in high school where he came, right? He came for, in high school they had this old student that graduated and they come back to have interactions with students. Homecoming. That's the homecoming. So he came for one of these homecoming and he was in a uniform, a cadet uniform. So I asked him, what school is this? Why are you in a cadet uniform, a marine cadet uniform? And then he said, oh, there's this school, Regional Maritime University. So you see, it had got nothing to do with my dad being a seafarer. Because I spoke to Sly Sylvester. And then he told me about Regional Maritime University. So I told him, oh, I'll be very much interested in this school.
Nice one.
So even through my period in the high school, I had not even thought of what I was going to pursue with my tertiary education. So I was just going through the secondary school process. And then I met Sly. Sly told me about Regional Maritime University, and then I got to read about it. I went online, read about it. I was coming from an arts background, so I couldn't go into nautical science because that was purely for science students, right? So I went for port and shipping administration.
Okay.
But I really wanted to do nautical science.
That's really some diversity in the courses they have, right?
At the Regional Maritime University, they have logistics and logistics management, right? And then port and shipping administration.
Right.
That is more for our students. But then you have science people who can come and do port and shipping and then logistics.
Yes.
But you can't, as an art student,
that's
go
the
and
power
do
of STEM.
nautical.
That's the power of doing a STEM course.
But that's bias.
Another conversation.
For another day.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So port and shipping, I went into port and shipping, and look, that program was for me, it was very interesting. It wasn't like a regular course for me. It felt more like, well, this is something I wanted to pursue personally.
It gave you that.
Yeah, so if you ask my friends that I went to the same tertiary with, they will tell you that beyond the classroom, I had my own personal endeavors that I was pursuing that was related to maritime.
Right.
So in third year, I was already working on a media company for maritime because, again, I realized that a lot of people didn't know what the maritime industry was all about. So I thought, well, since I'm in a maritime university, why don't I start a media company? And that was YouTube. So let me start a YouTube channel where I'll talk about news articles and events and happenings in the maritime industry. So I put that all together. If you go to YouTube, you will find it, Maritime Study Network.
Okay.
And I started it, but I was never able to stick to it because then I had to there's always this idea I'm pursuing, there's always this idea here and there. But, my experience in Regional Maritime University has been very, very awesome. I participated in student leadership. I was class representative for my class for the entire 4 years, managing a class of 170.
Wow.
From level 100 to level 400. Did a little bit of student politics, worked with the SRC. And then there's this period in my university, right, that then ushered me into my career, if I can put it that way.
Pivotally.
Yeah.
Tell
so in my third year, I think third or fourth year, one of our course models is on procurement. So I had this lecturer. His name was Kwame. He had come from the UK. And as class rep, I get to meet my lecturer and interact with him. So we had this course he was teaching procurement. And for in the university, right, you do like a first month or two, and then you write a mid-sem, and then you continue to write the end of semester exams.
Yeah.
So we wrote the mid-sem for procurement, and my grades were so bad, very bad. I was...
Class P.
Can you imagine? So it was so bad. My lecturer just called me and was like, no, you can't do that. You are the class rep. There's no way you should be having such low grades, right? So what I decided to do was to join the weekend students.
Okay.
So I joined the weekend students because I wanted to up my grades. So I joined the weekend student for procurement. And I started attending the weekend procurement classes. End of semester procurement exams, and I was first.
Awesome.
And the interesting thing about that particular exam, that procurement course, was that my lecturer told me that we were friends, even though he was my lecturer, we were friends. And when he marked my papers, I scored like 100. But because, again, we were friends, he didn't want people to think because we were friends, he's giving me that high grade. So he had to, instead of 100, he gave me like 96 with the hope that someone would score 97 or 98 so I don't get the first. But after he marked everyone's paper, no one passed the 96. So this is the interesting part. This is very interesting. So the award for who gets the first in procurement was 300 cedis and then a can of drink.
Okay.
The 300 cedis never comes. The can of drink never comes. So I went to him and I said, well, now that I'm first, I need the award. And then he says there's no award. And I said, okay, can I bargain for something else? And he says, yes. So I said, okay, I've never done internship in my life.
Okay.
Throughout the university, I've never done any internship. So instead of the award, he should get me a place to do internship. And that's how he introduced me to my current employer. So he introduces me to my current employer, who is who I met, right, in a different office. His name is, if I'm permitted to mention his name.
Please.
So at that time, he was the assistant, he was the naval secretary, assistant naval secretary at the Ghana Navy. And then I get to work with him.
Awesome.
For my national service period, I was with him throughout. And then the second half of my national service period, then they introduced me to the research institute, which is the Gulf of Guinea Maritime Institute. They introduced me to the institute. So at the Navy, right, when you do your national service at the Navy, you close at 1:30. So I close at 1:30 and I go and continue at the institute to 5. So that's what I was doing for the second half of my national service period. And that's how I got into
Gulf of Guinea Institute.
Gulf of Guinea Maritime Institute. And that's how I started my maritime career.
Awesome. Awesome. I mean, sweet lessons there. If you flunk a paper or risk it as we have it,
That's not the end of life.
there are opportunities that you need to look for them.
Yeah.
You know, to do research up the paper, you know, to try it again,
Yeah.
do better. And this time you're the best.
Yeah.
And even at that point, you think, oh, I've arrived because, well, where's my gift? Where's the reward? And he said, no, of course, because of the relationship.
Yeah.
But you're looking beyond that because then people, you go around and say, oh, even if you do well, they don't give you what you're deserving. But you look beyond what you can get today. That's what, your 300 cities. I mean, that would have been sorted you out, shopping right, shopping.
There was shop right just behind
you know,
our
just
school.
do
I'll
some
go and
cool
buy
shop,
pizza
you know,
and finish it and go.
and the kind of drinks.
Yeah.
But no, you were looking at the future,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
an internship. And
Yeah.
let me just say that internships, are they spaceships? I think they are. They propel you to anywhere and places,
Internships are like
that are pivotal.
master classes. So whatever you are doing in school, internship is like the platform where you get to experience in real life what you are learning in school.
Please.
And it's always beyond what you are taught in school.
Absolutely.
It's always. So sometimes you're tempted to think that, oh, what they taught me in school is limited. No. What they taught you in school is supposed to introduce you to the idea, to the concepts. And then when you have the chance to do an internship, it gives you the practical experience.
That's true.
Then you get the chance to decide, okay, I think I'm good at this skill. Do I need to, is this something I'm very interested in that I need to pursue more, develop more? Or, oh, this guy is doing this, I saw this, maybe I might want to go into this. So internships are learning experiences. It's like a curve. It's a master class on its own. And everyone should try to do an internship, even if it's just 1 month.
Yes, please.
Once. In the university, people tend to, I know people who never did internship through the 4-year period in the university. And some try to do it after they complete the university. But internships are not always structured in our world now, right? Because there's remote work, remote opportunities. So you shouldn't always limit yourself to, okay, let me go and do internship in a company. You could volunteer. That's also an experience.
And that's the buzzword these past 9 interviews.
But I think it's not popular.
Yeah.
The word volunteer comes off as, I'm not getting anything. But again, it comes back to what you really want from it. It's not always the monetary.
It's not always about the
money.
Yeah.
It's the experience first and the value that you can bring.
Yeah.
And then you monetize the value eventually.
Awesome. Awesome. But then port and maritime.
Port and shipping.
Port and
Shipping administration.
Yeah.
Straightforward. So to say, I mean, the layman's understanding and knowledge.
So,
and then now you're doing research.
Yeah.
Research but help us marry this transition, so to say.
So the maritime industry is very big again, right? And there's so many sectors. There's the port and the shipping. There's oil and gas.
Yeah.
There's fisheries. There's tourism. There's the security aspect of it, right? But the port and shipping...
And the diplomacy piece.
And the diplomacy.
Yeah.
Diplomacy is sort of cut across, right?
Yeah.
So
but it's quite important.
Very, very. So port and shipping has to do with the administration of the port community, the trading of goods and the services, and all the stakeholders, the agencies, the ministries that are all involved in facilitation of international goods and services, right? But in all of these things, there is the generation of data.
Absolutely.
Right, statistics, that is very important for governments to make decisions on where to invest, what trade, how the country's trade is performing, right? Trade performance.
Inflows, outflows, import, exports,
right. Yeah, you know. And also inform, okay, so if we are performing in this sector very well, maybe we should invest more in this area and all of that. But so then you need to understand how you are performing as a country. And that's where the data becomes important from that sector, right? So if you are a data analyst, right, or you're a researcher, I think data analysts are the new word for researchers. So if you're a data analyst or you're a researcher, you are able to sort of play a role in how that sector performs, right? But for me, when I was in the university, at that time, in terms of maritime opportunities, we skewed the opportunities. So we thought once you go through university and then you do port and shipping, you are probably going to work at Ghana Port and Harbour Authority or Ghana Maritime Authority or Ghana Shippers Authority.
Right.
But when my lecturer introduced me to Lieutenant Commander Kofi Amponsah-Doju, then I got to see that, there's a different world out there that is barely talked about. But then again, it's so important to the port and shipping sector again, because the port community has to do with infrastructure, critical infrastructure. So there are port systems, there are vessels, there are all kinds of infrastructure that are being established, right? To make sure that all the activities within the port go on smoothly. But then there's the security aspect. Protecting these assets are very key. And that's where maritime security plays a role. But throughout my 4-year period, right, we had a course on maritime safety. And in that course model, they talked briefly about maritime security. So if you are not curious, you probably not try to read more about maritime security. And the safety part was mostly about the environment. And so that internship period exposed me to the world of maritime security. And again, the word security is even skewed because there's economics in security, there's environment in security, there's the human security, there's food security. So a lot of time people understand the security as just the force variation, right? Where you're talking about the military people. But even in the military, when it comes to security, it's a very broad concept.
Thank you so much for exposing this. And then,
there's also now, I like the buzzword, blue economy. Please enlighten us. What does all of this,
start to
make sense for us, especially SHS students, and trying to find our space, find our way around a career in maritime?
So the concept of blue economy is one that is more relevant to the challenges of today's world, right? So we are talking about how, in terms of relevant challenges in the world today, we are talking about issues of environment, food, job security, right, and protecting the environment. And the blue economy is one of these concepts that deals with how we manage the marine environment, the oceans, in a way that we generate economic value, but at the same time preserve it in a way that we can protect it for future generations. And so the blue economy concept gives the opportunity for government, stakeholders, local communities, including young people, women, young girls, to explore opportunities when it comes to how we manage resources in the ocean space. And when it talks about resources, they are cross-cutting, right? In terms of the opportunities within the port sector, in oil and gas, the careers in fisheries, the careers again, the entrepreneurial opportunities in tourism, right, and what have you. It's a concept that gives basically people to explore what opportunities lie when it comes to how we manage the ocean and economic opportunities.
So if you can just share with us, some job titles, people are eager to go browsing and look at what a trajectory will look like. Yeah.
Okay. So in the blue economy space, we talk about emerging concepts and opportunities, and one of these has to do with ecotourism, right? And ecotourism, ecological, right? So
right.
how you manage tourism activities in such a way that you maintain the biodiversity aspect of the environment. You don't destroy the environment, right? Its natural characteristics are maintained, while at the same time gaining commercial value from tourist sites. And when you go to our beaches, right? One of the problems you have to deal with is plastics. That is one.
Good old
Plastics. A very good old problem. Plastics. But the other one, which we don't so much experience in our world, has to do with the rising of AIDS and how it affects
but we have
period.
the defense walls here and there, but I'm like, you're right, we're not really...
Yeah, we don't get to experience those things. But
the effects.
When you travel to other parts of the world, right, let's not even go to traveling to other parts of the world. The issue of climate change is one that we need to pay attention to.
Okay.
And that is very central to the issue of ecotourism.
Right.
There are different changes in ocean processes. And when you visit some parts of our beach areas along the coast, you would see how erosion has taken place, and it's sort of distorted the whole leisure area, right? So, but then there are apps, there are solutions, digital solutions that young people are developing to be able to monitor ocean processes. And that is where young people can play a role. So first of all, understanding the basic problem with the ocean, the science bit of it, and looking at how you can use technology to develop solutions that addresses it. So
Awesome.
In terms of commercial value, right, if someone wants to go to the beach, I take my phone, I have this app. Ocean, I check, let's say, the pattern, how are the waves doing. Okay, today's a good day for
High
me
tide,
to...
low tide.
Yes, so today's a good day for me to go to the beach. Oh no, today's not a good day. Oh, the weather is this way, the weather is that, so I can go. By the mere using of that platform, right, is value.
Right.
So if you have people downloading that app to use, that's leveraging technology to...
Absolutely.
Yeah, to address some of these issues and also enhance the tourism experience for people. So, yeah. So, but then there are so many other ways that we can look at how technology is impacting the blue economy. And let me I don't want to miss this. Let me say that the concept of the blue economy hinges strongly on technology and innovation. And these are very strong areas that the UN is looking at when it comes to addressing the issue of the ocean, right? Addressing ocean challenges. There are very specific pillars that the UN looks at through the UN Ocean Decade Program.
Okay.
2010 to 2030,
right?
And it talks about the pillars, the very strong pillars: innovation, technology, and science, research in addressing ocean problems. And so STEM is very key when it comes to dealing with ocean challenges and more broadly developing solutions for the maritime industry.
We cannot have this conversation about careers and
producing solutions without talking about the role of women.
Fun fact, I wrote a
paper, and that's how I connected with
Lawrence on the role of women in driving the maritime economy of Ghana. And,
what's your take on this?
I'll try and be very practical.
Please.
Right? So when I met Lieutenant Commander Kofi Amponsah-Dodu, he then introduced me to another lady called Dr. Alberta Sego. And these two people were sort of my my mentors, right? They've sort of held my hand, taken me through so many things, taught me so much. And I got a chance to work more directly with Dr. Alberta Sego. And she has worked in the marine space for quite a number of years. And so she has a wealth of experience in the ocean space. And so that's a typical example of a woman or a female working in the ocean space, impacting lives, changing stories, and bringing value to the industry. So definitely women have a role to play in the maritime industry. Beyond that, when it comes to issues of security, women have the characteristics of negotiation. And so women have a role to play in dealing with peace and security in the ocean space, in the maritime domain. I don't know if you want me to go into the bits of maritime security.
No, please. That's much information as our audience will appreciate.
But when it comes to the fishery side, right,
yes,
women play a very key role in the value chain. From fish processing, trading, marketing, bringing value. Women's role cannot be understated in the fisheries industry. If you go into port and shipping, we have women who are captains of ships, who are marine engineers. I mean, when you go to the Regional Maritime University, they train women. Women take courses in nautical science, engineering, and at the end of the day, they come out and they are working on ships. And that's the misconception that we want to break. A lot of young girls don't get that mentorship or don't get that advice when it comes to pursuing careers in the industry. When I was in the university, one of the misconceptions was that if you're a lady and then you get into the maritime industry, you get into shipping, and then you go to sea, you join a vessel, you go to sea, and first of all, how do you deal with your menstrual cycle? And then when you get pregnant and you have, it's a male-dominated industry. How are you going to navigate all these barriers, stereotyping and all of that? But we equally have women in the industry, right? And I could talk about Ghana's maritime industry. Absolutely. We have women who have played very pivotal role, and they've sort of paved the way.
Absolutely.
For a lot of young people, they've been able to make young people believe that there's a role, there's an opportunity for them, and there's a space for them to also contribute to the development of the industry. And so women's role in the industry is very key. The maritime security sector cannot be left out, right, when it comes to the role of women in peacekeeping and conflict resolution. They tend to believe that, and this has been implemented in different areas where we've seen the skills that women bring in conflict resolution in terms of negotiations and all of that, helping understand what the divide is all about and how we can bring people together. So women's role in the industry is key.
We can't understand it. I mean, from my own findings, I mean, though worldwide we have like less than 2% of them making the numbers, but that doesn't stop them. There's WISTA, there are associations and platforms all across. And I was really, really amazed, even on the continent, in the region, in the country. Captains of ship, commanders and what have you, and they're female and they're performing at the top. So, ladies, we are encouraged to go into the maritime space. It's not just at the fish processing level. Of course, they also make the big, impact in terms of the economies and what have you, from the likes of the smokers and then the processors, refrigeration, cold store, as we have it in local marketing and all of cold store marketing.
Leveraging digital tools to do marketing, the value chain. In fact, there is a role for young people, women, to play when it comes to how we can revolutionize the for fisheries.
Absolutely.
That is an area that is not. I mean,
Absolutely.
if you want to take a close lens at the fisheries value chain in Ghana,
Right.
you will see that it's just been the same process for a very long time.
Yes.
The men bring in the fish,
Yeah.
the women
Yes.
take it, process it,
Yes.
they'll probably smoke it or fry it, and then they go and sell it. But now, there are opportunities for us to trade, right? There's the opportunity for us to trade among
Thank you for mentioning
ourselves.
after.
These are some of the platforms, but there's also the need for, you see, we don't have to wait for young people to get to a certain level in their lives before they are introduced to some of these concepts like after.
No.
After should be a concept that should be embedded in the curriculum, right?
Please.
So before, you don't have to get out of school before you are working in a company and you get to know that, oh, after is about this. No. After should be, it could be designed into a challenge, right? Just to get young people. When they are young, their minds are they become very curious.
Yes.
So we need to nurture those minds at a very young age so that they can develop interest in STEM before they get into their prime years, right?
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that opinion. Indeed, maybe a curriculum or a week's worth of lessons on what AFTA can do.
Yeah.
Well, again, we're doing the career day, so sometimes we afford us the opportunity to talk about maritime and, I know a Navy person, or I know someone who's in the shipping free forwarding, and so of course, you're always in the news, the free forwarders and shipping and what have you in the news because of FX and what have you.
Yeah.
But it goes beyond that is what our guest is sharing with us today. The opportunities are endless. Even from my own research, I know that there are scholarship opportunities for female students who want to go into the Regional Maritime University. And of course, that's also a collaborative effort by the region to sort of push young people into the space, making that a conduit. So it's like, oh, I really want you have to go to R&U, and they open their doors to find to helping you with any information, all the information that you know. I also know sponsors are coming on board to give money to sort of empower and inspire young people to go into the maritime-based careers. And of course, yes, if you go on SHAPE, and I think there was this profound statement that I trampled, of course, you see that the issues of women on land are the same as they come off land or onshore. So it's not a case of it's just because it's maritime and so then women are understated, etc. No. It may be just an extension of what it is. But of course, we know that there are inroads to giving women the voice that they have and that they deserve, and making sure that they are the seat at the table. Like I'm sharing, yes, there are scholarship opportunities for women. First year, second year, you just go into select the maritime-based courses, and then there you have it. You have a career that's set for you because there's a quota, and they have to meet it by all means. And so that's a good one for us.
I think from what you said, I picked two things: the
Yes,
career day, and the scholarships,
yes.
and then so scholarships, and then furthering your
education,
your
masters,
education,
whatever,
right?
yes.
So at the institute, at the Gulf of Guinea Maritime Institute, we have 3 focal areas: research, capacity building, and advocacy. And in the area of capacity building, we've been able to deliver training programs for young people, not just in Ghana, but across the African sub-region. So we have young people in Nigeria, in Cameroon, in South Africa, who have all benefited from our training program. Early this year, we did a training program on ocean technology, purely on STEM, and then maritime safety and security for young people in 3 different locations: in Ghana, in Cape Verde, and in Nova Scotia, Canada. So the idea was to train young people on how to, first of all, understand the unique problem in their region, in their country, or in their environment, and how they can leverage technology to develop solutions that would address it. And at the end, that was about a 6-8 week training program. And so we had facilitators from different countries that were delivering different models on ocean technology, on maritime safety, entrepreneurship and leadership. And at the end of the day, at the end of the course, right, some of the participants, some of the students from Ghana went to Canada to share their experience.
Awesome platform.
What projects they worked on, and also connect with young people in Canada and Cape Verde.
You know, in local plans, now because these are
so these are things
wonderful.
that this are initiatives we want to scale. We want to engage high schools, and this is something we could literally collaborate on.
Absolutely.
Scale them. We are now establishing maritime clubs in high schools, so we can introduce them more directly to the concepts in the maritime industry, and then look at what challenges we can develop in the port sector, in oil and gas, in fisheries, in security, that can get them to develop their problem solving, critical thinking and analysis skills, and then get them ready for the industry.
Fantastic opportunities there. Viewers, please, you heard it from here. There are training programs from Gulf of Guinea Maritime Institute that delivers top-notch training modules so that you can understand the space even better. There are what you call exchange programs available as the opportunity would afford. You can come on there, and you know, the world is your oyster. The opportunities are just numerous. Just grab it, and this is the platform. And we say, continue to stick and stay with us for all of this information and more. Of course, we're bringing you the best of mentors who are in their own right stellar in what they're doing in the chosen fields of work, and Lawrence is none short of that. And again, I want to piggyback on this and say that, you know, at the National Theatre on the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, we'll be showcasing more. Well, for this year, we're focused on agriculture and agricultural solutions. And so SHS students are coming to show us innovative ideas that they have put together, and they'll vie for the winner of the 2024 STEM Festival SciTech Innovation Challenge. And so please, don't stay at home. Once you have the opportunity, join us. I'm sure there are exhibitors that coming from yourselves and other science-based institutions that will help us get a feel, so that indeed we know that in choosing a science, technology, and engineering, art, and maths career, you know, we have all the backing and the support and all of the inspiration that we need.
I just wanted to propose that next year, let's do the festival on maritime, ocean technology.
That would be fantastic. No, that's fantastic. For the career fair. No, please. Wonderful theme that you're giving. So, guys, maybe you already have the theme for next year, so we can start preparing. Producers will put it together and let us know what the Innovation Challenge theme would be. But it's a fantastic idea on the back of AFTA, on the back of the blue economy, and on the back of all the things that we need to do to harness the resources. It's always like jobs, and there's this mine, and we don't know in the maritime space, and we're hearing about it. So let's not sit on this, please. Let's not sit on this. Let's go exploring, browsing, finding out. Google, look at his profile, look at all of the institutions that he's collaborated with, and let's learn from there and shape our own future. Indeed, our future is in our own hands. Let's take a little move from the serious things. Of course, all things are serious, but let's take it a bit light and talk about student politics and, you know, choosing a career. And sometimes people say, oh, it's distracting, don't go into student politics. You're here to learn, and how you've navigated and still being a stellar, the top of the class, as it were. What was that experience like, please? The high moments, the low moments. Yes, tell us.
Well, I was very young when I was in the university. I'm still young though, but I was very young back then compared to the kind of people I had in my class, right? So I was very young, and I never thought I would occupy a leadership position in my class. During my third year, there was a period I went to my class and told them that, look, I'm done with this position. The stress is a lot. I don't think I can manage it. And within myself, I thought I wasn't living up to that position, right? But my class told me that, look, whether you like it or not, you are going to be the leader. So we graduate. You've literally done 3 years with us. And you just have one last year you want to leave. So you are not leaving. That is just one part of it. But I think the most important lesson from that was it sort of built my public speaking skills, right? And you could see that everything sort of sums up. Everything that I picked was, my director would say it in a very nice way, that it's your toolbox.
Right.
So along your journey in life, every experience that you have is your tool. It's your tool.
It's a tool.
So you have a toolbox, and then you just put it inside. So
and for use later.
Yes, and then you will never know. But there's going to be a
Upset.
period where you will need all those tools. So you just pick them as toolbox, and you know that the part of this work that I do is where you get to meet new people. You get to travel and see the world and all of that. And not so many people from my university and from my community have had that experience, because in the last 3, 4, 5 years, right, I've been to a number of European countries, and it's based on this same work that I do. You invited me for the lunch.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, and I had to tell you that same week I was in Italy for the NATO meeting. And NATO is quite big. I'm talking about North Atlantic Treaty Alliance, right?
That's a big one.
And I was
But how do you manage that? Because sometimes can it be it's overwhelming I think if I were not pushed, but if I found myself on such platforms and such networks, it would be quite overwhelming for me. And the lesson is, or the question is, how do you manage this, and still be the humble self that you are,
So let me tell you something. There was this experience that my colleague and I had in Portugal, right? So we went for a maritime security training, and we went with a number of senior naval officers. Right. We revere all of them, but we are close to some, so we are able to share our personal experiences with them. So we are at this training, and there was a panel. So they are talking about geopolitics in the security space, right? And this man he's on a panel, he talks, he says all kinds of very important things. And then when he's done, he comes to my colleague and I, and he came directly to me. He was like, "Lawrence, I hope I made sense." So I'm sitting down, and I'm like, "Yeah." We have this big man asking me if it made sense. So right there, my colleague and I, we just concluded that, look, every day is a teacher. Every day you learn something, and you are never done learning.
Right.
Every day you experience new things. Every day you have to learn every day.
And that's what keeps you humble.
Yes.
Because you don't know everything.
And you meet people, you think they know everything, and they're not even sure. So then again, you don't necessarily have to figure it all out before you say you're going to do something. You just need to have the confidence and then do it. Because it's in the doing that you get to learn.
It's in the doing that you get to learn.
It's in the doing that you get to learn.
Awesome.
So you asked me how I manage all these experiences, getting to meet all these people.
Yeah, managing that, because some will go and will flaunt and then hey, and then the opportunities pass us by. But we want to get there, and that's what you're sharing with us. We have it as a tool in our pockets, and then we can function at our optimum.
We have platforms here in Ghana where we meet the same people.
Yes, okay.
So you get to interact with them. They are human beings, right? You get to talk to them. You learn. It's all about learning. You have to go with a mindset to learn. So I'm going to learn. I don't know it all. They also don't know it all. And that's the interesting thing. When you talk to them, you realize that there are things that you know that they also don't know. So they are also learning from you.
Good.
So they are telling you what they know. You also tell them what you don't know.
An exchange there.
And you could meet some that are so frank that they will tell you that, oh, I don't know anything about this thing. And thank you for teaching me. I think I'm going to read more about it.
Awesome.
So
that's humbling.
Yes. So you meet people. Look, you just have to interact with people, talk to people, get to know them. I think that's what has, to a large extent, given me a lot of this experience. I talk to people. I talk to so many people. When I go for meetings, when I go for conferences, I talk to people.
You just have to talk to them.
I just talk to
Try
people.
to connect.
I could talk to you about a personal thing. It has got nothing to do with why we are there.
trick.
Sometimes it's the very ordinary things that connects us.
It's just the ordinary things
The
that
ordinary
connect
things.
us.
Oh, I like your spectacles.
Thank you
and
so
then you get
much.
talking about it.
Yeah.
So really, I like your spectacles. But I like your spectacles, and then it connects you to.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so there's this. So now why are you here? And then
That's it. That's
you
the
get talking.
icebreaker.
Yes.
Fantastic tip.
You know.
Yeah, pro.
Those things, those little
Right,
things. Oh, it's
right.
this, oh, that. Oh,
Right.
how is the weather? One time we were in Portugal.
How is the weather?
And we were in a meeting, right? We had a meeting, then we went to get lunch somewhere. Simple life. We went to get lunch, and I was in the midst of these guys, and we were not talking about anything that had got to do with why we were at the meeting.
Right.
We were talking about the weather. We were talking about the food. We were talking about economic issues.
It gets people to listen up.
Yeah, but then
Oh.
you realize that sometimes it's not always the so serious things. It's the food,
Yeah.
the culture,
Right.
those things. They connect people.
Right.
So we have to embrace who we are.
Yeah.
We have to be confident in who we are. It's not easy. There are very down moments as well,
Please
right?
tell us about it.
They
So
are
we
very,
may
very-
also swim them.
There are very, very down moments. There are times where, so in our space, right, it's a research think tank, right?
Right.
So first of all, you need to be able to understand what the issues are. You have to read a lot. Sometimes you need people to tell you, to help you understand something. They have busy schedules. You have to try and figure it all out. And sometimes you have to deal with stress. There are times where your week is packed. You have to juggle through so many tasks. So you might fail at some, you might be very terrible at some. And, you know, in the heat of the moment, sometimes we don't manage our emotions very well and all of that. But what I've come to teach myself is that when you are working and you experience some of these things, don't take them personal because it's a working environment. So people's motives a lot of times is not to get at you personally. It's to get the work done.
Absolutely.
So in the course of getting the work done, they might do things. I might do something. And then you might take offense in it. But it's not to get at you. It's because I'm focused on the work, or that person is focused on the work. It happens even in the classroom. People are trying to achieve all kinds of things. And so a lot of time they behave in a certain way, and you might pick on it as, why are you laughing? You have that experience.
It's some of the things that you experience really in the workspace, because you're thinking, why is this person behaving this way?
Everybody's focused on the work, and at the end of the day, when all is said and done, it's the work that will
speak for itself.
Yes. So the other question is, how do we give young people those kind of experiences while they are in school before they get to work?
Exactly.
So summer schools, career fairs are opportunities for them to interact with people who work in the industry and get to understand what the industry is about. What does it mean for me to be a banker? What does it mean for me to be a captain of a ship?
Right.
What does it mean for me to do working with a crew? What does it mean for me to be a naval officer?
Right.
What are the intricacies? What goes into it? All those things. So there's the professional aspect of it all, but there's the personal bit of it. And for me, I would always say that my life has been built a lot on mentorship, right? So I have so many people in both my personal life and my professional life who I always talk to. Look, I'm not overstating this. I talk to so many people in a day, right? I have so many mentors. I have colleagues who are just my age, but they are my mentors.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they always teach me so many things, right?
Absolutely.
So it's not always people who are older than you. Sometimes your own colleagues could be your
even
mentor.
younger people can
Even
teach you a
younger
thing or
people.
two.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So my life is built on mentorship. Mentorship is so important. It's very critical. It's one of the things that we do at the Institute, mentor young people. And that's how we develop the Blue Mentorship program for high schools.
Yes.
So that's also
something
hinge
you need
on
to
blue
look out for.
economy.
Please, Blue Mentorship for high school students.
Yeah.
Please look out for it. Follow, be a part of it. This 2024 is all about what's volunteerism,
Yeah, volunteerism.
internships,
Internships.
mentorships.
Yeah.
I even want to add, you said
Career day, you know, and when we come on holidays, there's this open day.
that the military does or
Yeah,
these
yeah,
other
yeah.
companies, institutions
Yeah.
do. Please, let's go.
Yeah.
You might never know.
You should definitely do that. There's the opportunity for us to collaborate. They do the opening days where they take young people,
Yeah.
put them on a ship,
Right.
take them on a cruise, give them that sea experience.
If you
But,
don't get seasick at the end.
but even the government is working on an initiative, right? The Ghana Navy and then the tourism agency.
Yeah, authority,
They are
yeah.
working on the authority. They are working on the Center of the World initiative.
Ah, yes, of course.
Center of the World
Meridian,
initiative.
yes.
So they want to take people, the public, on this sea experience
Yeah.
and all of that. And the academic institutions should be able to open up. Like, we are at that point where academic institutions need to marry industry. They need to marry industry. Because what we need now is problem solving. The world is full of so many problems. If you look within our country, there are so many problems. So you also need that, even if you develop someone's problem-solving skills and the person migrates to a different country, they are still relevant.
Absolutely.
So we don't need people to be first in class and whatnot.
Local
whatever.
champions.
No, we are not looking for that anymore. Now we need people to solve problems, to be able to think critically, to be able to work among teams.
Collaboration.
Right? Collaboration. People to understand what a problem is and how they can solve it in such a way that is very long term. But also more importantly, how we can use technology
to
solve this problem.
A wonderful way to sum it. Fantastic, fantastic. This just by the way, and as we conclude today's interesting conversation with you, Lawrence, the scientific phenomenon around the equator, and like Ghana, don't we have these things happening that we can tap in, especially because you mentioned about the tourism and what have you. But of course, it's up for discovery by us. You have a thing or two to say?
Do you know Ghana is the closest country to the equator?
Yes, I know that, but I was expecting maybe it's up for me to also go and discover and then talk about it, some scientific experiences around it. Are we supposed to be feeling some shift or scorching sun and what have you? But maybe it's also up for us to go and find out.
Yeah, I think we all need to. Personally, I have an interest in going on that trip myself.
Yes.
So maybe we can go together.
Please, we would.
And find out.
One other thing we should go together to is the SciTech Fair. So please, looking forward to your being there on the 21st, 22nd,
Sure.
and 23rd.
We'll come with all our programs, all the opportunities that we have
please.
in the institute.
Exhibit,
that is,
yes.
Yeah, we'll exhibit all of that for young people too. Those that want to come for summer programs, when they are on vacations, they want some kind of mentorship and all of that. We can do that with them. Yeah.
That's wonderful. So please, the Gulf of Guinea Maritime Institute will be at the SciTech Fair, God willing, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd of November at the National Theatre. SciTech Innovation Fair, exhibition, experiments, innovation, all in a wonderful circle. And it promises to be enjoyable, inspiring, impactful.
Definitely.
You'll love it. And this is talking about our great, the food on your table and how we can make money. This is all what we are about here at the STEM Festival, and especially for 2024. We haven't ended the conversations. We continue tomorrow. Another wonderful mentor to inspire us on this journey. Remember, we are proudly brought to you by Primetime Limited in partnership with Pepsodent, JuPay Money Transfer, Bell Beverages, YFM, and GTP. See you tomorrow.